A nurse working a night shift at Poveglia Island in the Venetian lagoon once described hearing voices coming from a sealed room that, according to hospital records, had been locked and empty for over 40 years. She wasn't the only one. There are dozens of accounts like hers, and that island has been off limits to the public for decades. That's not legend. That's documented policy. Welcome to 5 of the most haunted locations on Earth, not according to folklore, but according to the paper trail. Poveglia Island, Italy. For centuries, this small island served as a quarantine zone. During the bubonic plague, it's estimated that tens of thousands of people died there. Some historians place the number as high as 160,000, though that figure remains debated among scholars. What is documented is that a psychiatric hospital operated on the island until 1968, when it was abruptly closed. Former staff reported patients describing figures that weren't there. One physician, according to accounts collected by Italian journalists, allegedly leaped from the hospital bell tower. The Italian government has kept the island restricted. Whatever the reason, access requires special government permission to this day. Edinburgh's Mary King's Close, Scotland. This underground network of streets was built over in the 17th century following plague outbreaks. City records confirm the area was sealed off. What's harder to explain are the consistent independent reports from visitors and workers over the past 2 centuries. Cold spots in specific rooms, the sound of children crying near a chamber now known as the little girl's room, and a number of accounts involving a small doll shrine that visitors began leaving of their own accord after reporting the same experience in the same location without prior knowledge of each other's visits. Paranormal? Possibly. Psychologically compelling? Unquestionably. The Stanley Hotel, Colorado. Stephen King famously stayed in room 217 and reportedly experienced something that inspired The Shining. What's less discussed is that staff members and guests have filed consistent reports with management for decades, documented in the hotel's own guest logs, describing unexplained sounds, objects moving, and encounters on the 4th floor. The hotel now openly acknowledges its reputation. Whether that transparency helps or complicates the investigation is something reasonable people disagree on. Aokigahara Forest, Japan. Located at the base of Mount Fuji, this forest has a deeply tragic history as a site of suicides, a fact confirmed by Japanese government data and addressed in public health campaigns. What draws paranormal researchers isn't manufactured mystery, but the sheer volume of accounts from hikers, rescue workers, and photographers who describe compass malfunctions, a persistent sense of being watched, and in several cases, the same unexplained sounds in the same grid coordinates reported by people who had never met. The compass issue has a geological explanation: high iron content in the volcanic soil. But that explanation doesn't account for all the reported experiences, and researchers are careful to acknowledge the difference. The ancient Ram Inn, England. Built in the 12th century, this inn in Gloucestershire has records going back further than almost any other structure on this list. The owner for many years, John Humphreys, documented his own experiences in detail, including what he described as a physical force pulling him from his bed on his first night in the building. Archaeologists have confirmed the discovery of children's remains beneath the floor, along with what appear to be ritual artifacts. The structure predates the inn itself, sitting on what local records describe as an ancient pagan burial ground. The confirmed archaeology is not in question. What those findings mean is, every location on this list has something in common. The experiences aren't confined to one person, one era, or one culture. The witnesses include skeptics, scientists, and people who walked in expecting nothing unusual at all. That doesn't prove anything supernatural is happening, but it does suggest something is happening, something that doesn't yet have a clean, satisfying answer. And that, perhaps, is exactly why we keep going back.